So like this whole last week, it's been a lot of Xbox negativity just from people who used to be like my go-to for Xbox hype. They're having conversations about how they're worried that Xbox is going to shut down and take away all of their games. It's just like, I don't really understand where it's coming from. So the community has been talking about some pretty insane stuff. So not insane, because that feels like I'm being dismissive of how they feel. I just don't agree with how they feel, but obviously they're entitled to that, right? I think it's a little crazy. See, you can't use those charged words. I am very surprised by the reaction that the community is having. They're saying things like they're concerned about losing access to all their games. Like Microsoft is just going to shut down gaming and stop making games altogether. It's really surprising to say the least, right? And this idea that all of a sudden they're just going to remove everything, it's crazy to me. There's no indication that Xbox is just going to like randomly shut down and not be available anymore. And there's this big fear online right now that, oh, Xbox is going to take away all of our games. They're going to shut down the gaming division. I don't want to be an Xbox fan anymore. I'm going to delete my account. I'm going to totally change my profile. Did everybody just forget that Xbox is set up for like an amazing 2024? There's tons of great third-party games that are coming to the Xbox platform. There's tons of great first-party games coming this year, including titles like Indiana Jones, Hellblade 2. And the fact that Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and Grounded are going to other platforms, two of those games, Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, several years after their release, shouldn't indicate to anybody that Xbox is going to like melt down. It's pretty crazy to me that that has been the reaction. And I just can't believe it. Like that's what it took to get these super fans to bail on Xbox altogether. And I'm just like, wow. I just honestly can't believe it. I'm really, really surprised. Now, I've made no secret that I am an Xbox fan. I don't need the headset on, I guess. It's no secret that I'm an Xbox fan. I really think what they've done is pro-consumer. And let's take a look at what they have strategically coming in the near future. They still have Game Pass, and Game Pass Ultimate will have all their games day one. I've experienced many great games because of Xbox Game Pass, and I think it's a fantastic service that is going to continue to add more and more games, including Diablo 4 in the near future. Now, that is a fairly new video game that is being added to Xbox Game Pass, and that's great. That just further enhances your value. Now, granted, there's been some controversy around Diablo 4 and, you know, their cosmetics, but I stand by that the intro of that is very solid. Like the first time you play through the campaign, your build feels really fun. It's really fun to go through and tear through the enemies. And Xbox is just not going anywhere. But the question everybody has right now is what's next? Well, we have Indiana Jones this year. We have Hellblade 2. We have Avowed. And they just had a whole event where they talked about all of the exciting properties coming to the Xbox brand in 2024. I think it's just surprising to see everybody just bail. And the way that I've felt lately is like there's just no hype for Xbox right now. There's no excitement about 2024, even though it's one of their best lineups in years. There's no excitement about new hardware. I'm not seeing it online. All I'm seeing is negativity. And somehow, by me pointing out that PlayStation games that were once exclusive on PlayStation eventually came to Xbox, managed to make the PlayStation fans mad and the Xbox fans mad. So the Xbox fans are like, that's not the same. They don't own these games. Death Stranding only came to PC Game Pass, Destin, which we clarified literally like 5 more seconds. We talked about it and we clarified that it only came to PC Game Pass. So that idea is just nuts to me. And I think what people fail to realize is Xbox isn't the console. So all of these people are upset, are largely, a lot of the people that are upset about games coming to other platforms.
This guy called himself Xbox fan, played Helldiver and changed.
Calls himself an Xbox fan, yet plays Helldivers. Yeah, and I played Death Stranding, and I love God of War, and I like the original Last of Us. I haven't finished Last of Us 2 yet. And you know what? I play a lot of Destiny, and I played the original Hellblade twice on my Xbox console, and I played a lot of Forza Motorsport. Like, you can be an Xbox fan. Thank you for the super chat, Susano. You can be an Xbox fan, and you don't have to only play on Xbox. I know that's like mind-blowing to people. Oh my God, he plays on PC and he plays on console. That's the thing. And that's the thing I keep trying to remind y'all. The console market is not growing. It's not. Maybe the Switch is going to be the first console to beat the PlayStation 2. And I feel like I say this like every freaking stream, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, right? Yeah, I have all the consoles. It's wonderful. I can play all the games. I don't even play Helldivers on my PlayStation. You know where I play Helldivers? On my PC. You know what I've been playing this week? Last Epoch. It's freaking fantastic. And if they can get the servers stable, the people that need to play online are going to have a great time. Just saying the name of the Last Epoch, I cannot tell you how bad I just want to play it right now. PC gamers are growing. More and more people who are going to school today are basically given a laptop, and because of the technology catching up to game design, a lot of these laptops can just run all these games. So console sales are down for Xbox. They've said they're not exiting the console market. They said they're bullish, more bullish than ever. So anyway, there's this great Gamefile article that Stephen Totillo put together where he interviewed Phil Spencer on February 20th. And I think it's fantastic. I'm actually going to link out to it right now. I'm going to read some of my highlights for it. Microsoft's Phil Spencer on Xbox growth, recent job cuts, and the future of games on discs. These are some of the key quotes. It sounds cheesy, but I've never been more bullish about where we are, Spencer told me during an interview last week. We're growing on PC. We're growing on cloud. Our game studios is just an amazing creative organization. We've got great support from the company, he said. We do need to be part of this industry growing. I think that's got to be a real focus. Does that sound like somebody who is about to shut down their whole gaming division and go away? I don't understand where this fear of all of your games being taken away tomorrow is coming from. If that happens, it's not going to happen for like 20 years. It would be terrible if it happened. You know what else would be terrible? If I got hit by a bus tomorrow. That would be very terrible, right? But why are we worrying about things that might happen? Can somebody explain to me where that fear is coming from, that Xbox is just going to randomly shut down their entire gaming business? I don't understand this response online. Xbox is kind of finished in the console market. Who cares? They're still going to release consoles. Consoles will still be available for the people that want to play on console. They've admitted they lost the console war. They admitted it a year ago, but they're not going to stop making consoles for console players. So they'll take third place. They'll take millions of dollars. People act like being in third place, or like, oh, your concurrence dipped from 458,000 concurrence in Helldivers 2. Well, today you only have 328,000 concurrence. Clearly the game is dead. Like, the internet is just crazy to me. Do you know how many devs would kill to have a dip of 100,000 concurrence? Like, you still have 328,000 concurrence. People are still playing your game like crazy. So I just feel like a lot of this has lost the plot. Continuing on. So this is about tough times. And here's a quote that we got from Phil Spencer. I don't think we're doing a good enough job finding new players, Spencer said. Let's pick consoles as a good example. We found 200 million global households that will play console games. And that number really hasn't changed in the last 5-6 years. Gee, you know who else has been talking about how the console market isn't growing? Me, every analyst on planet Earth. The console market has been flat. It isn't growing exponentially. You know what is growing? We're going to get to it in this article. Cloud gaming is growing. Mobile gaming is growing. I think even PC gaming is growing. More people are able to play on PC because the bar has been reduced so much. So if you like console gaming, it's not going anywhere. It's still going to be there for you. And I think so many people were tied to the console gaming idea. Gamers for You says, I have no consoles and I still think Xbox is being smart with this, Destin. I agree. Mobile, PC, cloud, like everybody knows where the growth market is. Everybody who's been paying attention knows where the growth market is. And like, again, this can run Warframe. My wife's texting me. This can run all sorts of stuff. High-end, great-looking games. My phone can handle that. And just because I can do that on my phone, do you think I would rather play Last Epoch? I don't think it's on mobile. Let's pretend Destiny 2 is on my phone. Do you think I would rather play on my phone or on my Steam Deck? Or do you think I'd rather play on my PC? Of course I would rather play on my PC. But some people can only afford one device. And if that device is a console, great. You get access to all the games in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Or Xbox Game Pass Core even has like the core library that you get. There's no waiting for next year. Like Xbox is already set up to have a great 2024. There's no waiting. It's here. It's good. The Switch is like an outdated piece of hardware and everybody plays there. Here's what Phil Spencer continues on to say. We've raised the price of games, he added, acknowledging the increasingly common $70 price point following nearly 2 decades of $60 games. I do not agree with the price raise, by the way. You know what games are doing really well? Games that cost $40. Helldivers 2 is $40. You know what didn't do so hot? Suicide Squad. There's a core design philosophy being pushed by executives and directors at these companies that are eroding the quality of these products. It just seems clear as day to me that money is influencing the design of these properties in too many instances. And then something like Helldivers comes along, something like Last Epoch comes along, something like Baldur's Gate 3 comes along, Elden Ring, where art is the focus. The core tenets of why we love video games are the focus in all of the examples I gave, including the Nintendo examples. You can give Nintendo a hard time for Pokemon, but Metroid Dread was fantastic. The last 2 Zeldas have been fantastic. The Pikmin series has been doing very well because the core philosophy is the design of the property. If Rocksteady had a winning formula, and they just said, yeah, we're just going to do something really different to cash in. Do you think that was Rocksteady's decision? If it was a bad decision. Rocksteady is best in class at single player experiences within the DC universe. Why they needed to go into the looter shooter space makes no freaking sense to me. Oh, we really wanted to do something different. We're tired of making single player experiences. Well, you know who, isn't tired of it? Nintendo. Nintendo will make Zeldas until their eyes bleed. And like, it's cool to want to branch out, but maybe don't make a $300 or more million bet on something like that. I'm all for new IP, but chasing the dragon, the live service dragon, as Ryan McCaffrey puts it, is a bad call. You are good at this thing. You have made 3 stellar entries within that world, 4 if you include Arkham Origins. Why would you mess up a good thing? You had a good thing going. Just keep that ball rolling and innovate within that space. That's what Nintendo does. That's why Nintendo is still here. So if you want to do something different, there are plenty of game studios out there that are startups trying crazy new things. And I just think in this, like, I don't know, part of me struggles with this because I love the idea of a game company trying out something new. But I just feel like no one said, hey, a lot of this stuff is weird. Why is why is Poison Ivy a child? Why are you desecrating the corpses? Why is this storytelling so bizarre? Like, what is going on with Warner Brothers and the Rocksteady decisions? Like, the story wasn't good. The gameplay wasn't that good. The release window wasn't that good. The patches haven't been good. The ending wasn't good. Like, how did nobody say this is bad? Like, did they just have all yes men over there? The studio founders left the company to make their own company.
Why do these streamers think Xbox will go but never consider that PlayStation might?
I don't think Xbox is going to go, Mr. Distant. And I don't think that PlayStation's going to go either. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Anyway, where was I? We went through COVID. We found ways of getting more money per player. I think at some point you reach a peak on that. And frankly, it can go to some places that are manipulative that I'm not a big fan of. He's talking about microtransactions. And honestly, I think Diablo is one of the games that kind of go into that territory. Maybe not manipulative. Yeah, okay. I won't say manipulative, but their goal is to keep you playing their game as long as possible. And I do think the problem is that all the cosmetics are super, super cool, and there is no reason to continue playing once you beat the campaign one time. And that is the type of game that you want people playing for a long time. Heroic Gangster says, Diablo 4 is one of the games of all time. You are absolutely right. The solution, he said, is to find new customers, and you find new customers through new ways of delivering games to players who can't play those games today, whether that's device, whether that's access, whether that's price point of video games, or even doing something as crazy as releasing your games on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch, right? They're releasing some B-tier games that have done very well for them. I just say B-tier, they're not Halo, right? They're not Gears of War. I would say those are like the A tier or S tier for Xbox in terms of their IP. And those, at least now, are not going to other platforms. And there were some rumors about that never came to fruition. Time will tell and react appropriately. But what's going to happen in 5 years? Everybody's looking at today. I don't think people online are looking towards the future. In the next 5 years, those gamers who have played on those other platforms are going to see, oh, Xbox has Xbox Game Pass and we can play all of these games. And they're going to say, oh, the next version of that game that I loved is on Xbox exclusively first for a year. I think that's the strategy that Microsoft is trying to implement. And I see people talking about like, oh, you're fanboying, you're bootlicking for Microsoft. I don't get that, because I'm just saying I don't care that those games are coming to PlayStation. And people want me to be mad about it, and I'm just not. I don't care that other people can play Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, or Pentiment. I don't care that those exclusives are gone. I think it would be more notable if it was Starfield, Gears of War, etc., because I'd be like, all right, that's kind of weird. Like, that's the opposite of what I expected when they announced about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. But PlayStation fans are out there touting like some huge victory over Xbox fans because they got those 4 titles that have already reached market saturation in the Xbox ecosystem and PC ecosystem. So who cares if they go to other platforms at this point? It's just going to mean more people to play with. Why care about Xbox exclusives? Care about the Xbox games because we need more good Xbox games. That's it. And This is an NVIDIA shill. That 4090 is PC, if any. Yeah, I sit here at my desk a lot. I record all these videos at my desk, and I play a lot of games at my desk. So I don't really care what people are playing on their consoles. And I think it's a smart business decision on Microsoft's part, especially if they sold everything that they can possibly sell within the Xbox ecosystem. So they're trying out a few B-tier games on other platforms. And we'll see what happens with that in the long run, right? I think it's going to be completely fine. That's my super hot take. My super hot take is I think it's going to all be okay, everybody. Check this out, though, in terms of growth. Cloud adoption and expansion has been slow, but it's finally picking up, Spencer said. Gaming via the cloud now accounts for a double-digit percentage of total hours of Xbox games played, he noted. There was a time when we weren't developing more server blades because we had more supply than we did demand for the server racks that we had in place, he said. That's clearly not true today. Any conversation we have on cloud is very time dependent because it's growing so fast, Spencer said. Xbox cloud gaming growth in the last 6 months, he said, has been in markets that are never going to be console markets. And that end has been spreading across TVs, Chromebooks, and Android tablets. The areas they're seeing the biggest growth are areas where they're just not selling consoles, but they're seeing huge growth in cloud. So if they're seeing growth in cloud and they're seeing growth in mobile and they're seeing growth on televisions and tablets, but they're not seeing growth in the console market, the consumers have spoken. Our console market is still going to be a focus. The console market's not going to go anywhere, but it sure seems like we should be paying attention to these other areas. People in chat are saying cloud gaming may not be good. Well, it's good enough for a lot of people, it sounds like, if they're seeing growth in that sector. He went on to talk about some of the job cuts. I have a commitment to the company on the Xbox business being profitable and growing part of Microsoft, he said, and I need to put us in the best position for long-term growth. Most of that is about building great products that exceed their expectations and find millions of customers. But honestly, you know, the cost of building the products, inclusive of the people who work on them, I need to make sure we have enough of the right people and the right number of people in the right places for us to succeed. Why cut so deep? I'd say it was a combination of us looking across the full portfolio of what was working, which we have to do, in running the business, as well as areas of alignment between Activision, Zenmax, and Xbox, Spencer said. He also noted that since the acquisition of the Zenmax family of studios 3 years ago, the organization has added about 15,000 people to the business. That's a lot. That's a lot of additions. So they've added 15,000 across the entirety of the gaming division. They got rid of 1,900. They added 15,000 people to ZeniMax. Activision, before it was acquired, added 2,000 additional people. And Activision said, we're going to have layoffs in 2024. That's on the record. So no matter what would have happened, there were layoffs coming. It's just what's happening in 2024. I'm a player of games, not consoles. Games, no matter where they are. Thank you, stay weird, and keep gaming. Exactly. Exactly. Good games sell consoles. They talked about the console a little bit, like Phil Spencer isn't going to mention this again. But Spencer wouldn't talk to me last week about the leaked all-digital Xbox Series X, but said Microsoft will follow what the customers are doing. We are supportive of physical media, but we don't have a need to drive that disproportionate to customer demand, he told me. And what's really interesting is Limited Run Games just said, hey, we're going to do physical copies of Hi-Fi Rush and these other properties for people like the people in chat that really want complete physical media on their collection, in their collection. Great. Go get those limited edition runs. That's where we're at with physical media. So few people want it that they're doing limited runs of physical media. And I feel like the last 4 streams, I've said the same thing. Microsoft was pulled out of Walmart, Best Buy. Everybody just got out of physical media all at once. So where are they even going to sell it? We ship games physically and digitally, and we're really just following what the customers are doing. And I think our job is running Xbox is to deliver on the things that a majority of the customers want. And right now, a majority of our customers are buying games digitally. So it's your fault. I'm just kidding. I don't mean that literally, but nobody's buying physical. When I say nobody, I mean the percentage is so tiny of people buying physical media these days. It's so tiny that Best Buy took it out of their stores. Walmart is getting it out of their stores. Everybody just said, we're not selling this stuff. Get rid of it. Our profit margin is so small. Who cares anymore? And an additional thought on that, the fact that it's being removed also prevents reselling of physical media. Now that sucks as a consumer because you can't buy secondhand, but from a business perspective, from Microsoft's perspective, that's good for them. So me as a consumer, I'm like, well, that sucks. I'm not going to be able to get games secondhand, which is a bummer. It is. But I do wonder if that means more sales and such in the future. We ship games physically and digitally, and we're really just following what the customer is doing. He also hinted at some economic concerns. Gaming consoles themselves have kind of become the last consumer electronic device that has a drive, he said. And this is a real issue, just in terms of the number of manufacturers that are actually building drives and the cost associated with those. And when you think about cogs that we're going to go put in a console, and as you have fewer suppliers and fewer buyers, the cost of the drive does have an impact. But I will say our strategy does not hinge on people moving all digital, he said, and getting rid of physical. That's not a strategic thing for us. But fewer people are making optical drives. My PC does not have an optical drive in it. Fewer and fewer manufacturers exist to even make the optical drives because people don't consume media that way anymore. Everybody went digital. And if you want to blame somebody, you can blame the first iteration of this. You can blame the iPod. Because that's what killed out CDs back in the day. Fast forward to today, everybody kind of got used to the idea of just having digital libraries. There is a challenge that everybody is going to need to figure out about ownership and having content taken away from you. And I think the government's going to step in and address that. Call of Duty Game Pass update. Our intent is the full portfolio of games from Zenmax, Activision Blizzard, and Xbox Game Studios will be on Game Pass day one, he said. Day one equals when they also go on sale. So all Activision games, Call of Duty games. I do wonder if that means by the end of the year. That is somewhat curious. They also talked about text to AI in gaming. I'm not going to cover that part, but that was the long and the short of the video from the article from Stephen Totillo. I found it pretty interesting. I do think that there are people out there that still want physical media, but you know what's going to happen? We're going to get old. I'm 40 something, and I bet a lot of the people buying physical stuff are not 18 years old, because the younger demographic is playing kind of everywhere but physical media. The amount of people playing on physical media is less and less and less and less and less. Clay says, I'm going to stay young forever. I got some bad news for you, Clay. That is not accurate. I had this up, and it's sort of important about what we're discussing. because here Phil Spencer said, I can safely say that if we do not make more progress than this off console, we would exit the gaming business, Spencer said, referencing a presentation that showed the projected growth of Game Pass on console, PC, and cloud by 2030. If this were the outcome, I don't believe we'd still be in the business. So he's talking about like a potential failure of the entirety of Xbox, basically. Will that happen? I don't think so. I think already he's talking about being incredibly bullish, and based on the Gamefile interview that I discussed, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. And then there was this article from Engadget, which I do not agree with. It says Microsoft should exit the console business. Why keep losing a hardware war you believe is about to end? Because you have millions of users on your hardware. Because the hardware is less important, especially when cloud gaming is starting to see an uptick. So if you only want your Xbox Series X and cloud gaming finally gets figured out, someday the console's not going to matter. You're going to be playing on a tablet. Esky Boy says Xbox tax. Did you see that Microsoft Xbox tax themselves with their marketing for Hi-Fi Rush on the Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox? I don't agree with the premise that Xbox should exit the console business. I think the console business is going to go away in the near future. And by near future, I mean like in 10 years, where it's going to be vastly different than what we have today. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for the subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. It's underneath the chat. You can sort of see it. But yeah, hit the thank you to the members. I really appreciate the members for supporting this channel. Thank you so much. Hit that join button right down there. Thank you for watching and following along. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.